Hello everyone, I hope you're having an amazing week. Today I want to welcome you to this channel and to a vision of a complete Sims 4 rework. Over the years, the growth of The Sims 4 has been huge, not only in the base game with consistent updates, but also with all the expansion packs, game packs, stuff packs and kits. But, despite all of this content, many players in the community still feel unsatisfied. Each of these has added content and variety, shaping the game title. Yet, the base game, the very foundation of everything, remains outdated, limited, and lacking in real depth. And while the developers want to continue expanding the life of the game, this goal can only truly succeed if the core experience is reimagined and rebuilt. Other life simulation games on the market are starting to push the boundaries of creativity and realism, raising the bar for what players expect in the genre. And for The Sims 4 to remain the leading simulation experience, it needs more than just new packs. It needs a large-scale rework, one that makes the base game stronger and more competitive, while also honoring the legacy of the franchise. That's what this vision is about. Not just small tweaks, but a complete restructure that brings new life into The Sims 4, and ensures that it can truly stand against the competition. Let's start from the ground up. Imagine The Sims 4 creators took some time and rebuilt the game, all on a brand new foundation, smoother, with tons of bug fixes and more powerful than ever before. Between those improvements, the important aspects in development would be focus on breaking the outdated limitations, reflecting just a clean slate for a modern simulation. Additional improvements will be necessary in this new updated game format. For example, with this new foundation, long-requested features could finally become a reality. The team could work on implementing open neighborhoods in the game, considering that completely open worlds are unrealistic in the game and are not really necessary. In this case, open neighborhoods would definitely be a great gameplay improvement. Just picture walking with your Sims down the street, visiting your neighbor, or taking a stroll to the park or any other community lot without hitting a loading screen every 5 steps. That simple change alone would breathe so much life into the worlds and save players valuable time. A rebuilt foundation would also redefine how the game feels and behaves at its most basic level. Currently, objects often act like static decorations with little presence. A modernized system could restore physics-based interactions. Objects would no longer just sit still in place like decorative props. Instead, they would regain a sense of weight and presence, once again responding to the environment. They'd have physics again, bouncing, wobbling, just like they did in The Sims 2. The return of such physics, including those iconic water effects, would make the world feel more alive, rewarding both observation and interaction. In sum, lighting could also be taken to an entirely new level, offering deep customization options for every type of player. For those with powerful machines, optional upgrades could unlock enhanced shadows, dynamic reflections, and layered lighting effects that dramatically transform the mood of each scene. Players who prefer a lighter experience could still enjoy simpler settings without losing performance. A great reference for this is the vibrant visuals seen in Minecraft after its lighting enhancements, or the update in The Sims Freeplay, which completely refreshed the look of the game, making it feel more eye-catching, modern, and alive than ever before. Additionally, lifespan settings would become fully customizable, like in The Sims 3. Giving The Sims 4 players unprecedented freedom to define the exact rhythm of their Sims' lives, adjusting each stage independently by days instead of being tied to a single preset. This means, for example, childhood could last much longer for richer storytelling, while adulthood might be shorter or medium length, depending on the narrative needs. No more reliance on youth potions or cheats to bend time. Instead, every life stage could be molded to fit the story, making gameplay feel more personal and comfortable. Another truly great implementation for refreshing the game would be a complete overhaul and expansion of the animation system. Right now, animations often feel limited or repetitive, but with improvements, they could become far more dynamic, nuanced, and immersive. Imagine Sims moving not only with greater variety but also in ways that directly reflect their current emotional states, personal traits, and even their momentary needs. For example, a tired Sim might slump into a chair instead of sitting neatly, or a sad Sim could relax with a distinct position. These subtle details would bring out their individuality and personality in a natural, comfortable way, making every interaction feel alive, unique, and deeply connected to who that Sim truly is. Something really necessary for this game. Among other implementations, one particularly engaging idea would be the introduction of economic difficulty settings. This feature would allow players to choose the financial reality that best matches the way they want to experience the game, changing the way players approach their households. In the different versions of the game, money has always been at the core of the Sims experience, whether it's saving up for that dream home or balancing daily needs. With this option, for those seeking a relaxed, easygoing playthrough, money could flow more freely, with jobs paying generously and bills kept light, giving you more freedom to focus on storytelling or building. On the other hand, for those who crave intensity and challenge, a hardcore economic setting could be introduced. In this version, every paycheck would feel earned through real effort, promotions might come more slowly, and bills or unexpected expenses could constantly push Sims to the edge of financial survival. Choosing this path would turn even small accomplishments, like buying a couch or affording a child's toy, into meaningful victories. By including this range of difficulty, the game would finally adapt to different playstyles, ensuring each save feels unique and deeply personal. Another aspect of this improved version of the game would be a complete remake of the iconic townies and lots. Over the years, players have seen small sneak peeks of these kinds of changes in past updates. But, with a new version, it would be the perfect opportunity to go further. With these implementations, the base game worlds would not only receive visual upgrades, but also refreshed households with richer backstories, and homes that feel alive rather than just placeholders. These changes would reflect the progress the game has made over time and would allow new players to immediately experience the level of diversity, creativity, and detail that more recent expansions already showcase in their neighborhoods. Additionally, a particularly important improvement would be adding default families and pre-built lots to the Newcrest world. While Newcrest has been a great blank canvas, the reality is that many players never complete it, leaving the space empty and unused, especially when owning multiple expansions and game packs. Filling it with thoughtful builds and diverse families would truly enrich the neighborhood. Finally, it would be valuable to extend these remakes for ongoing packs refreshes, ensuring older worlds don't feel outdated compared to the latest ones. With all these features mentioned, which address the most important aspects that would arrive with this hypothetical new version of the game, we can now move on to discuss more specific changes in some essential sections of The Sims 4. Those areas include the Create a Sim mode, Build, Buy mode, and Live mode. First of all, it must be acknowledged that Create a Sim, since it was announced, has been an innovative and surprising tool because of its capabilities. Over time, these have been expanded thanks to content added in expansions, game packs, and multiple updates that have enriched the customization experience. However, there are still elements that could be refined and taken one step further. One improvement would be to include a greater variety of default backgrounds for the Create a Sim mode. For years, players have had to use the same backdrop, which has inevitably become repetitive. Adding new options, and even the ability to choose between multiple styles or themes, would bring a refreshing and more customizable touch to this important space. Even settings inspired by expansions like the recent main menu backgrounds would be great also. In this way, every Create a Sim session would not only be functional but also more customizable for players. Another idea for Create a Sim would be the introduction of an expanded items showcase, specifically with more columns available when browsing items. Currently, the interface feels limited, forcing players to scroll endlessly to view all the available options. Something that becomes even more overwhelming as packs continue adding new items. Expanding the number of columns would allow players to see more content at once, making the process of dressing or customizing Sims much more efficient. This isn't a new desire within the community. In fact, mod creators have already addressed this by releasing mods that increase the number of columns in Create a Sim. These community-made solutions have shown just how practical and well-received this feature is. In Create a Sim mode, an additional improvement that could come would be the expansion of body weight and muscle sliders. While the current system already allows some flexibility, it remains fairly limited, often creating characters that look too similar despite the effort to diversify them. By expanding these sliders, players could achieve a much wider range of body types, creating Sims that feel more realistic and representative of human diversity. Small details, such as adjusting where weight is distributed, or how muscle mass shapes different parts of the body, would also add depth and personalization. This addition would make Create a Sim more expressive, and rewarding for players who value individuality. To make Create a Sim feel more modern and versatile, one impactful upgrade would be enhanced hair customization, similar to what we saw in The Sims 3. Rather than relying only on preset swatches, players could access a dedicated customization system that allows them to truly shape their Sims look. A color wheel would make this feature really powerful, giving the option to create custom shades, add subtle highlights, or experiment with multi-tone styles. This flexibility would not only expand variety but also transform hair into a more personal tool. These improvements would go beyond simple cosmetics, empowering players to showcase their creativity and design Sims whose hair feels even more unique and meaningful. An additional improvement option would be a complete overhaul of eye customization. While The Sims 4 already offers a decent range of colors and shapes, players are often limited when it comes to fine details. An upgrade could introduce layered customization and heterochromia without relying on mods, allowing for unique, immersive and artistic results. One really important feature for this rework of the game would be expanded medical conditions, allowing players to create Sims with diverse physical experiences. In addition to conditions like asthma, diabetes, or allergies, this system could introduce options for amputations or mobility limitations, creating space for Sims who use prosthetics, orthopedic canes, or wheelchairs. These features would go beyond mere create a Sim visuals, extending into live mode with meaningful gameplay. For example, a Sim using a wheelchair might access ramps or elevators instead of stairs, while another with a prosthetic leg could engage in physical activities differently, showcasing unique animations and adaptations. Rather than serving as restrictions, these mechanics would add storytelling opportunities and representation, letting players build households that reflect real-world people. By combining medical conditions with adaptive equipment, The Sims could become more inclusive, immersive, and emotionally engaging, highlighting the everyday resilience and individuality of its characters. One more refreshing addition to create a Sim could be the introduction of brand new walk styles, giving players even more ways to express the individuality of their Sims. Walk styles have always been a fun feature, but they have remained somewhat limited in number and variety. Expanding this system would allow for more nuanced storytelling and character development. By offering more options, players wouldn't just be shaping how their Sims look in CAS, but also how they move and feel in the game world. Another refreshing idea for Create a Sim would be the simple but impactful addition of more swatches for clothes, shoes, and accessories. While the current options cover a range of styles, many items feel limited when you try to reuse them across different Sims. Expanding the available swatches would breathe new life into content without the need to design new outfits. For example, a basic t-shirt could have up to 10 or more extra colors and patterns, making it feel like a new piece of clothing. Accessories, such as earrings, necklaces, or hats, would also benefit greatly, since small changes in color can completely transform a look for a Sim. This approach would provide players with more freedom to create their Sims wardrobes, all while making older items feel fresh again. Finally, the introduction of new personality traits would be very appreciated. These new traits could be inspired by some from The Sims 3, adding more variety to gameplay. For instance, bringing back the absent-minded trait could create Sims who are more likely to forget tasks, leave conversations mid-sentence, or take longer to complete certain actions. Taking stuff that already happened in the game, but would be fixed in this version and only back with this charming trait. The shy trait would reintroduce Sims who take longer to build friendships and experience more frequent embarrassed emotions, encouraging players to develop social interactions gradually. The heavy sleeper and light sleeper traits could also make a return, affecting how Sims react to their environment while resting. Heavy sleepers might stay sound asleep even during loud parties, while light sleepers could wake up from the smallest noises, influencing household dynamics in interesting ways. Finally, the no sense of humor trait would add contrast in social interactions, making Sims less receptive to jokes and humor, creating some playful tension in relationships. I know more personality traits could be included, but for now I'm saving some of them for future videos about PAX refreshes. Now, for the build and buy mode improvements, it is important to mention how this mode has always been one of the most iconic and beloved features of The Sims 4, being the aspect that improved the most compared to past games of the franchise. Over the years, this mode has evolved, offering new mechanics and more flexible options. Ideas for a refresh of this mode of the game will consist of new tools, new objects and improve already existing mechanics. First of all, an expanded item showcase, similar to the community mods that many players already use, would be a significant step forward in improving buy mode. At the moment, the catalog feels restrictive sometimes, with players forced to scroll through long rows of items one by one, often slowing down the creative process. By introducing this expanded view, like the one existing in The Sims 3, the catalog could display more items at once on the screen, reducing unnecessary scrolling and giving players a clearer overview of their options. This expanded view will also make the buy catalog feel faster and far more comfortable to use. Following the expansion of the item showcase, another essential step toward player creativity would be better color customization for objects, with more swatches, and inspired by what was possible in The Sims 2. In that game, players could often separate the design elements of a single object, like choosing a different color for the frame of a bed and another for the blanket and pillows. Currently, object swatches are limited, often leaving players frustrated when matching furniture across rooms. This more advanced customization system could allow for transform object selection from a passive process into a deeply creative one. Ultimately, better customization would make every object feel fresh, personal, and tailored to the player's vision, enhancing important aspects as immersion and freedom. Now, it makes sense to address the very framework of building, the floor limit. The current restrictions can feel suffocating for players who want to create ambitious builds such as grand mansions, taller complexes, or underground builds. By expanding the floor limit, with just 2 or 3 additional levels above ground and 1 or 2 extra below, players would have more flexibility to bring new visions to life. And this change would not only open doors for creativity, but also enrich gameplay with new possibilities. In addition, elevators would be a natural companion to an expanded floor system, offering both functionality and style to builds. This would also tie directly into the new diverse physical experiences for mobility. These elevators could come in various sizes and styles, ranging from sleek modern glass designs to vintage wooden lifts, each customizable to match the aesthetic of the build. They would serve not only as practical objects for Sims movement but also as storytelling devices, with romantic elevator interactions, elevator traps, or even a new death. Another area of improvement would be the access to some of the debug items in buy mode. Currently, many players rely on cheats to unlock hidden useful assets such as trees, rocks, or world decorations. While fun, this system often includes low-quality or unfinished items that disrupt immersion. By selectively curating and officially integrating the best debug assets into the catalog, players could seamlessly incorporate high-quality trees, lampposts, or other unique objects into their builds without resorting to cheats. One more refreshing addition would be improved pools. Pools have always been a central part of the Sims franchise. Enhancing pools with more robust tools could intensify their charm and expand their creative possibilities. Better curved pool tools, for example, would allow players to design organic, free-form shapes. This flexibility would open the door to more realistic backyard pools, luxurious getaways, or artistic designs that go beyond the ordinary. Classic pool features, such as the classic diving board, coming with The Sims 4 Adventure Awaits, should be part of the base game, as pool ladders and stairs with varied styles. Additionally, expanding pool depth and multi-level water designs could also elevate the experience, making new pools more customizable. Additionally, to keep everyday life varied and exciting, introducing a range of new objects would significantly expand gameplay depth. Items like playmats, diaper-changing tables should be in the base game. Another addition could be toddler bunk beds, and the return of mini ovens. Those objects would without any doubt enrich family gameplay, giving younger life stages more activities and interactions. At the same time, practical additions such as functional home phones and food processors from past games would expand the player's options, with a sense of realism and nostalgia. On the other end of the age spectrum, long-awaited implementation of walking sticks to the game could provide both aesthetic and functional improvements for elders, making their movements more distinctive while reinforcing generational diversity. Together, these objects would strengthen the game's representation of everyday life, ensuring that Sims across all ages have unique ways to engage with their environment. And yet, no simulation of everyday life feels fully complete without one of the most requested features in the game: cars. Cars are perhaps the most important missing feature in the current game, and their return would mark a major milestone. Unlike decorative vehicles, functional cars would bring new layers of realism, from driving to work or school to weekend road trips. Players could design garages with customizable doors, integrate driveways, and even adapt lot terrain to create realistic sloped entries in worlds where possible, making use of the upgraded neighborhoods. This would allow movement feel more diverse, with Sims visibly leaving home and returning in their own vehicles or ones from the companies they work for, rather than simply disappearing into a rabbit hole. And again, it will not be possible for all worlds, only the ones where it is logical. Now, live mode is where their stories truly come alive. However, despite its central importance, live mode has long remained in need of deeper systems, richer consequences, and more immersive mechanics that give weight to every decision players make. A reworked live mode would not only enhance the realism of everyday activities but also expand storytelling opportunities, allowing Sims to feel more alive, reactive, and unique, giving meaning to the passage of time, making every day count and every world feel vibrant. With that perspective, let us explore the key changes that could redefine how could we experience Sims' daily lives in The Sims 4 in this hypothetical rework of the game. To begin with, one of the most fundamental improvements for the live mode would be increasing the number of Sims spawned in neighborhoods. This would breathe life into the game, making fuller parks, busier streets, and more dynamic community lots. Ensuring the world feels bustling, reactive, and immersive. It would transform The Sims from a stage with occasional actors into a thriving community where every story unfolds naturally. Now, travel has always been central to storytelling, but the current system feels too simplified. A new traveler system would introduce passports, like The Sims 3. These passports could track where Sims have traveled, unlocking unique interactions, or even special moodlets based on memories. The system could also introduce options of transportation or even special renew visas after long stays. These mechanics would make travel more meaningful and grounded, turning it into an experience rather than just a loading screen. Additionally, expanding the possibilities of home ownership would add an exciting layer of depth. Currently, Sims are tied to a single primary residence, which can feel limiting for players. Introducing the ability to own several lots would unlock new storytelling opportunities, like vacation homes, city apartments, or countryside retreats, could all become part of a Sim's life. Depending, of course, on the expansions and game packs owned. Naturally, this privilege should come at a higher cost. Owning multiple lots could include added expenses such as higher property price, property taxes, and even maintenance tasks. Plus, gameplay could extend beyond ownership. Sims might host family gatherings in their retreats, or use them as workspaces. Ultimately, this feature would make expansion and progression feel even more meaningful. Another aspect of this improved version of the game would be emotions. These are a central feature, yet many players feel they lack real impact in day-to-day gameplay. While moodlets do change how Sims behave, they often feel shallow, temporary, or too easy to override. An improved system would make emotions more powerful, truly shaping Sims' lives and choices. Additionally, stacking emotions could create more nuanced states. A Sim who is both tense and flirty might react differently than one who is only flirty. These deeper layers would add unpredictability and realism to gameplay. In this scenario, emotions should matter beyond moodlets. They should influence careers, relationships, and aspirations. Speaking of aspirations, the next natural improvement lies in making that system more challenging and rewarding. Aspirations currently function more like tutorials than meaningful long-term goals, often becoming too easy to complete. Improving the aspiration system would mean making them more challenging, dynamic, and tailored to each Sim's personality. Rather than checking off simple lists, players could face branching objectives that adapt, creating multiple paths toward success. For example, an artistic aspiration could branch into fine art or digital design, depending on the player's focus. Each branch could introduce unique milestones, ensuring that aspirations feel different even when chosen repeatedly. These changes would make aspirations not just side objectives but life-shaping challenges. Also, one needed improvement in the live mode would be a reworked and more organized Simology panel. Currently, the panel can feel cluttered, especially when players own multiple expansions and manage large households. By restructuring the layout, information could be presented more clearly. This would not only save time but also make gameplay smoother, as players wouldn't have to click through multiple menus to track their Sim's progress. As well, introducing new skills is one of the most effective ways to expand gameplay, offering Sims fresh ways to develop over time. Woodcrafting, for example, could become their own skill, separate from the handiness skill, allowing Sims to create new furniture, sculptures, and functional objects, complementing existing handiness mechanics but with a more artistic flair. Now, swimming, while seemingly basic, could become a dedicated skill that influences performance in the water. Even including a new professional swimming career, where the skill would be fundamental. Another new skill could be hacking, separated from the programming skill. This new skill would introduce a new high-stakes element to gameplay. Sims could earn money, access restricted data, or even cause neighborhood-wide chaos by interfering with systems. This skill could carry both risks and rewards, perhaps leading to criminal charges if abused too often. Finally, the bakery skill introduction in the base game would bring a better structure to cooking-related activities. Correctly differentiating baking recipes from the game without the need for the Get to Work expansion pack. Together, these skills would not only provide variety but also create new career paths and storytelling opportunities. And while skills bring depth to individuals, environmental features like swimmable lakes would expand the spaces where Sims can live their lives. In addition, other environmental feature that expands usable spaces could be new swimmable lakes. This would add immersion and variety to neighborhoods. Unlike pools, lakes would offer a natural, open water experience, with Sims able to swim, fish, or relax by the shore. Worlds with large bodies of water could finally become fully interactive, enhancing both storytelling and visual appeal. With these improvements, lakes in lots could finally become swimmable too, making outdoor areas feel more alive and useful. And if lakes become more meaningful, so should the Sims who embody nature itself, the plant Sims. Plant Sims have long been part of the Sims' supernatural heritage, but their current implementation feels shallow and limited. A true refresh would make them selectable directly from CAS, complemented with unique customization options like customizable hair and leaf textures. An addition that would have make sense with the improvement given with the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack. These upgrades would finally give players full creative control in designing their plant-based Sims. Unique interactions could also be added for these Sims, making them feel like a fully fleshed-out life state. Gardening bonuses, such as faster plant growth or special hybrid species, could give them natural synergies with existing systems. Another interesting improvement that could arrive with this hypothetical version would be better frogs. Frogs have long existed as collectible items, but they deserve a true expansion into interactive gameplay. Adding green terrariums with frog-focused activities like the existing with rodents in My First Pet Stuff would finally bring them to life, allowing Sims to view, talk to, feed, play with, or clean their pet frogs' habitats. These interactions would make frogs feel like living companions rather than static objects. This expansion would turn frogs from background collectibles into charming household additions if the players want to, enriching family and nature gameplay at the same time. Now, to make the simulation more realistic and consequences more meaningful, Sims could begin facing infractions for repeated negative behaviors. Actions such as stealing, constant insulting, or initiating frequent fights could lead to fines or temporary penalties. This would add balance to the game, preventing overly chaotic Sims from disrupting neighborhoods without consequences. For example, a kleptomaniac Sim caught stealing might have to pay restitution. Sims who constantly pick fights might face community service or damage to career opportunities. These systems wouldn't punish creativity but rather create stakes, ensuring that bad behavior feels impactful. But also, this option could be disabled if the player wants to create chaos freely. As another aspect, an improved grocery system would be beneficial. While cottage living introduced grocery orders, this system could be expanded, accessible from both online and physical store visits. Sims could browse a diverse catalog of ingredients, and even face availability changes. Discounts or loyalty cards could introduce strategic choices as well, encouraging players to manage household budgets more thoughtfully. Ultimately, Plop C, currently available in nifty knitting stuff, could become a foundational feature integrated into the base game and expanded. Plop C could evolve into a full online market system where players could choose to overprice rare or high-quality creations or underprice items for quick sales. To add depth, players could also set custom alarms for when items are available, creating a more dynamic marketplace. Reputation could also become tied to sales. A Sim who frequently overprices low-quality items might lose credibility, while consistent sellers could build a loyal customer base. This system would give all crafted objects a more meaningful place in gameplay. It would also create opportunities for entrepreneurial storytelling, allowing Sims to sustain themselves through creative work. In the end, all these ideas come from a place of passion and love for The Sims, and from truly believing in the incredible potential the game has to grow. Each improvement is about pushing the experience closer to what it can fully become, more immersive, more dynamic, and more meaningful for every kind of player. If you enjoyed exploring these possibilities and found this content entertaining, consider subscribing and supporting the channel. Together, we can keep imagining and shaping the future of The Sims, one rework idea at a time.